Hi, this is Bob Woodfin Photography and Rowlett, Texas Photography Club. And today I just wanted to give you a little bit of a bonus for our beginning Photoshop workshop that we're doing. And basically that is how to turn images into a pencil drawing. And I ran across this on YouTube not long ago, and I thought it was pretty cool, so I thought I would share with you. So we're going to take a look at a couple of images. In this image is in Waxahachie of the church there that I found as we were walking around. And what we're going to do first is we're going to duplicate the layer. We do that by Command J, and then we're going to add a hue saturation layer on top of it, and we're going to take the saturation all the way to 0. Okay, and cancel that. And the next thing we're going to do, let's rename this layer to make sure that we always want to rename layers, so good procedure here. And we're going to just call this church. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to invert it with Command I. And basically all an invert does is it turns it into a negative, so it just turns everything to the opposite colors and so forth. Now this is a desaturated file, so all it does is switch the blacks and whites. Then we're going to come in and choose a color dodge blending mode. Now the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a smart object, and to do that, I just anywhere in here on this layer, I'm just going to right click and it opens up the menu and just say convert to smart object. The next thing is I'm going to go, and the reason I do that is because the next step you may want to adjust back and forth, and the best way to do that is to make it a smart object. So I'm going to do filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and with the Gaussian blur I'm going to come in here and turn up the radius to where it just looks really lot like a pencil drawing, and somewhere in the neighborhood of here. If you go too far, then it just looks like a black and white image, but I like to go in here and you just kind of play with it to get what you're looking for, maybe somewhere like this. Now the good thing is that since I made this a smart object, if I don't like this, if I would decide I want to change it, I can just double click on it and make the change that I want. Now the next thing that you can do, this is pretty much it as far as where you need to go to get to a pencil drawing look. But you can also come in, and I may want to add a curves layer here, or curves adjustment layer here, and maybe just kind of darken those edges a little bit, like bring this slider over here, and it gives you a little bit of a darker edge there. And even if you wanted to, you may want to pick something in here, maybe just pick, like if you wanted to darken this right here, which is a little bit gray, you see where it's going to, it gave me a point here now, and then I can take this point and just drag it down a little bit, and those colors will become, or those shades will become a little bit darker, and then you get overall a little bit more of a dense image. And that's pretty much it. In the next, let's look at a different one here. Here's this tulip that I took in Waxahachie as well, and we'll do the same thing. First thing is we'll do a Command J to give us a new layer. We'll call this, I'm going to call it conversion, so that you know it's the conversion layer instead of just say tulip or something. Doesn't make a lot of sense. So then I'm going to come in and add my hue saturation layer on top of it, bring the saturation all the way to 0 like that, close this, come back down here, and I'm going to invert it, Command I or Control I, that's the shortcut for invert. You could also come up here and do layer, invert layer, like right here somewhere. It's on here. I never use these, so I don't know exactly where it is, but there is in here how to invert the layer. So the easiest way to do it is just do Command I. So the next thing I'm going to do is make this a smart object, and then inside the smart object I'm going to go to filter, blur, Gaussian blur. And when you do this, Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I knew I forgot something. I didn't change this to color dodge. See, it should turn into almost pure white image. Change this to color dodge. Come back up here to filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and then as you move this to the right, it begins to darken the image. To the left, a little bit less. So you can play around with this and get kind of a really nice pencil sketch. And that looks pretty good. And then if you wanted to, again, if you wanted to come and do a curves layer to darken some of these areas, first of all, I would move this over and get a little bit of density in there like that. And then if you find a certain area you want to darken, like I did a minute ago with the other image, if I wanted to darken like this area here, make it just a little darker, I can take this point in and drag it down a little bit, and it's going to darken the overall image, but it's going to target that area the most. So there's a nice little sketch of a tulip. So what about people? Let's look at an image here that I shot. This was shot with the Dallas Photography Club several years ago, and you can see I've already got quite a bit done on the image. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to do a Command Option Shift E and create a new layer here and turn all these others off. In fact, I'll just delete all these other layers. This one's blocked. I'll have to unlock it. There we go. Just to remove any confusion. And what I'm going to do here then is I'll do a Command J, and then I'm going to do the hue saturation. Bring saturation all the way to 0, like this. Then we'll come in here and I'm going to invert it, Command I. Notice it's just a negative. Change that to color dodge. And then I'm going to create a smart object, filter, blur, Gaussian blur. And as I begin to move this to the right, you can see if you move it too far, you get a little bit of these dark halos around here. So, and then you got a lot of darkness in the shadows here. So what I would want to do is probably darken that down a little bit. And you can do that. I'd rather not do it here. Just hit OK. Come here, add a curves layer. And with this curves layer again, I'm going to move this over a little bit to dark, give it a little bit of density overall. Then I'm going to come in here with this, and I'm going to grab this gray here, and we're going to try to just darken that a little bit. There we go. Give it make it a little bit blacker. Now you've got a little bit of denseness of things in the background here that you may want to get rid of. So what you could do is come in and do a Command Option or Alt Shift E to do a stamp layer and turn all these things off. Then we would add a blank layer and turn it white, which in this case is going to be Option Delete. Oops, sorry, backwards. Option, and that turns it white. So the reason I wanted to do that is so that whenever I remove this area up here, it's going to have a white background. If I didn't have that, it would be transparent. So see, if I turn this off and then come in here and remove this, you have transparency in there. And we don't want transparency, we want it to be white. So turn this back on, and now we've got some white. So you can just come in here and kind of do it at your heart's content what you want to do to fix up these edges. And you may want to, this may be a little bit, I'm kind of going in a hurry, but there you go. So you get something like this, and you get a white image. And again, you may want to work a little bit on her skin or whatever, but this gives you a really good beginning point. So you've got 3 really nice images here that have been turned into pencil drawings. Very simple and easy. With maybe a little bit of work, you turn it into something really, really nice. So that's all I wanted to talk about, how to turn this into pencil drawings. We probably won't go over this in our workshop, but just kind of a little bonus. I thought it'd be neat to kind of share it with you. So if you have any questions, just let me know. Make comments in the area below. And thanks for watching.